The sea stretched endlessly, a grave for millions. He floated alone on the wreckage, the only one left. The voices of his drowned crew still echoed in his head, their final cries, their disappearing hands. Then he heard it, a whisper that wasn't his own. It came from below.
Who are you? Show yourself.
A spectral hand broke the surface. Pale light pulsed, and a sailor's ghost rose, water trailing from empty eyes.
I command you, form a ship.
The sea answered. Mist gathered, timbers groaned, a towering ghost ship materialized from the storm. Kazuki pulled himself onto the deck, his legs unsteady, as the whispers grew into a chorus. One by one, more spirits took shape on the deck, sailors, fishermen, all who had drowned in the apocalypse.
If they'll follow me, then maybe I can still save this broken world.
Kazuki scanned the silent, spectral crew. They stared back, waiting, but for what? He could not tell.
Speak. I know you are still in there. What do you want from me?
One spirit drifted forward, older, his uniform that of a captain. His voice, when it came, was the sound of a tide pulling bones.
We cannot rest, boy. The sea that swallowed us still screams. We are trapped in its pain.
Then, let me help. How?
You already command us, but we are not your weapons. We want peace. We've had enough of drowning.
Then fight with me against the sea beasts. Reclaim the land, and I swear, I will find a way to break whatever chains hold you here.
A shudder passed through the ghostly ranks, a silent agreement, like wind through a forgotten rigging.
We will follow you, Captain, until the very end.
A promise carved in salt water. If I fail them, I'll drown with them. But it's the only way forward.
Daybreak on the ghost ship. A thick fog blanketed the sea as Kazuki held course, the crew silent and waiting. Without warning, the sea erupted. A massive barnacled tentacle slammed across the bow, shaking the ship.
All hands. Harpoons. Bring it down before it sinks us.
The ghosts obeyed without hesitation. Translucent harpoons flew, trailing ethereal light, piercing the beast's hide.
Haul it tighter. Don't let it drag us under.
The beast let out a gurgling roar as the spectral harpoons tore deeper, its movements slowing.
It is done, Captain. The creature sinks.
But before relief could settle, Kazuki's blood ran cold. Beyond the fading mist, more dark shapes moved, a swarm.
There are too many. We need more ships, more spirits. Fall back, Hiyama. We'll find the drowned and grow this fleet.
The ghost ship veered away, leaving the churning monsters behind. Kazuki now understood. One vessel was not enough. Not nearly enough. Day after day, he called into the deep. One by one, ghost ships rose, their drowned crews answering.
Every ship is another soul I owe. But I'll need 10 times this to face what's out there.
Then, through a break in the fog, a lone raft, a girl waving desperately. Sea beasts circling.
Hard to port. All hands, intercept those beasts. Now.
The ghost crew hurled harpoons and the creatures recoiled. Kazuki reached over the railing. He pulled her onto the deck. She knelt, shivering, staring at the ghostly crew.
I am Mana, a princess of a kingdom that no longer exists. How can you command the dead?
Kazuki turned away, his jaw tight. It's no miracle, just a promise. The ghost ship sailed on, carrying one living heartbeat. Kazuki couldn't tell if it was hope or a dangerous weakness.
What kind of promise? What do the dead want in return?
I swore to find them rest, an end to their drowning. But I don't know how, not yet. Not yet.
You carry the weight of an entire graveyard. It's both magnificent and cruel. My kingdom's sages spoke of a black wound in the sea. They claimed it birthed the flood and the beasts.
Kazuki waved it off as legend. But behind him, the ghost crew exchanged unseen glances, their forms rippling with dread.
Look at them. The dead don't lie. You see their fear?
She speaks of a darkness we've sensed but cannot name. A pull deeper than the ocean floor.
Another shackle. First a promise, now a mystery. How much more can I drag with me? We'll chase ghosts of the past later. First, we reclaim Hoshigawa. The living need solid ground.
The fleet turned east toward the drowned towers. But beneath the silence, the whisper of the breach grew louder. Hoshigawa rose from the flood, a graveyard of skyscrapers, its streets alive with thrashing serpent beasts.
All ships form a blockade. Ghosts to the rooftops. Pull the living clear.
Ethereal harpoons rained down. Translucent sailors clashed with scaled monsters in the drowned canyons. Living survivors on the taller roofs cheered, then wept as ghost ropes lowered.
These people haven't seen dry land in weeks. Water, bandages, hurry.
They look at me like a savior, but I am just a captain with a debt I can't pay.
That night, as the fleet rested, Hiyama's form flickered like a dying candle. Not exhaustion, erosion.
Each battle, we lose a piece. The sea's curse is jealous, Captain. It doesn't let go easily.
Then I'll end this faster. No more delays. The breach, whatever it is, we face it next.
But even as he vowed, the ghost's glimmer grew dimmer. Mana watched, her hope cut with fear. Mana sorted through the salvage debris from Hoshigawa, fingers catching on a waterlogged leather diary.
Listen to this. Day 1 of the flood. A great hole tore open the sea 300 leagues east. All compasses point to it, and all death pours from it.
Kazuki stopped mid-stride, back still turned, his shoulders tensed.
It says, the breach must be sealed, or the world drowns forever. But the next line is torn, something about a price.
A price. There's always a price.
He took the diary, scanning the faded coordinates as if they might vanish.
Hayayama. Plot a course east, 300 leagues. We sail for the breach.
The ghost crew stirred like wind through a forgotten sail, a murmur of hope and unease passing among them.
Aye, Captain. We've been drifting long enough. Better to face the storm than rot in the calm.
The fleet turned into the rising sun, the horizon dark with promise. Kazuki felt the weight of the diary in his coat, next to his heart. The sea ahead boiled black. From the depths rose a leviathan, wrapped in coral and malice, its roar splitting the sky.
All ships, scatter. Aim for the eyes. Don't let it crush us.
Harpoons struck, but the beast's hide was stone. A translucent sailor, caught in its jaws, burst into light, erased completely. Another, and another. Pieces of his crew dissolved, their final cries like salt in a wound. The beast finally crashed beneath the waves, but victory tasted of ash. The remaining ghosts flickered, barely holding form.
Captain, sealing the breach will end the curse, but our souls must be the seal. We will pass on. We knew this from the start.
You knew? You are asking me to destroy you, every soul I swore to save.
We're already dead, Captain. Let us mean something. Let our passing be the wave that recedes the flood.
They're asking for death, and I have to give it to them.
The word yes wouldn't come. Kazuki stood at the rail, the diary pressing against his heart like a final verdict. As the ghost fleet drifted through the night, Kazuki sat alone on the forecastle deck, his back to the spectral glow of his ship.
Kazuki, you've been avoiding them. They feel it more than the cold.
I can't do it. I promised them rest, not annihilation.
They already chose. You are just the captain who has to honor their wish.
It's not honor, it's murder. They trust me, and I'll be the one to unmake them.
You are so tangled in your guilt, you can't see the truth. They're not your crew to keep. Their souls waiting for peace.
Kazuki's hands trembled at the rail. The diary seemed to burn against his chest, its torn page a silent accusation.
She's right, and I hate her for it.
Mana placed her hand over his, steadying the tremor. No more words. Kazuki closed his eyes, the weight of the fleet pressing down. A single tear slid into the sea, but still, he didn't give the order. At the first hint of dawn, Kazuki stood. He walked to the main deck where the ghost crew had gathered, their forms a constellation of waiting light.
I've been a coward, but you knew the price from the start, and still you followed.
We followed because you gave us a captain. Now, let us give you a future. We are ready.
Then we'll sail to the end together. All hands, set course for the breach. No turning back.
The ghost crew didn't cheer. They simply nodded, and a strange peace settled over their translucent faces.
Thank you, my friends.
The helmsman spun the wheel, and the ghost fleet turned, aligning with the distant swirling scar on the horizon. Mana stood at the railing, hand over her heart. She understood now this was the only way.
Don't let me falter now. Not when they've given everything.
On the horizon, the breach pulsed, a wound of black lightning and emerald flame. The final voyage had begun. The sea surged with unnatural fury as the Guardian rose, its tendrils wrapped around the breach like a jailer.
All ships spread wide. Don't let it strike us all at once.
A tentacle came down like a falling tower. One ghost ship shattered into silent light, its crew gone forever. Kazuki's mind screamed with each lost soul, but his hand steadied. This was the price they all agreed to pay.
Harpoons. Aim for the joints where the tentacles meet the body. We must weaken its grip on the breach.
Ethereal lances flew, but the beast's hide was ancient and thick. Each strike barely scratched the surface. Kazuki vaulted over the railing, a ghostly blade igniting in his grip.
Break its hold on the breach. Every second we waste, more of the world drowns.
The right flank is weaker. Focus your attacks there.
A translucent sailor threw himself in front of a barbed tentacle aimed at Kazuki. His form dissolved, but his smile lingered. Amid the chaos, Hiyama's voice rang out over the wind, steady, as if he had already accepted the inevitable.
Captain, a wave of souls can blind it. Every ghost that remains, together, we can give you an opening.
No, I won't order you to die again. Not like this.
You already gave us life after death. Now give us death with meaning. Let us earn our rest, Captain.
A tear cut through the grime on Kazuki's face. He raised a trembling hand.
Go, all of you, and find the peace I promised.
Dozens of translucent figures surged forward, a tide of light plunging into the beast. The world went white. The Guardian screamed, its tendrils spasming. Kazuki saw the opening, a pulsing core beneath its jaw. He leaped, the ghost blade igniting in his grip once more, driving straight for the heart of the corruption. The blade sank deep. The beast convulsed, but its grip on the breach did not release. This was not over. A final, wailing shudder ran through the Guardian as its tendrils slackened. Slowly, the colossal corpse began to sink. Kazuki withdrew his blade, watching the Leviathan descend into the abyss. The water churned with its passing, and silence fell.
It's done. The path is clear.
But the words felt hollow. Around him, the ghost fleet was a shadow of its former armada. So few souls remained.
So few left. And now I have to ask them to finish it.
The breach pulsed ahead, a wound now unguarded. Hiyama, barely visible, turned his faded form toward Kazuki and nodded.
All ships, forward, into the breach. For every soul we lost.
The battered ghost ships turned their prows toward the swirling darkness. One by one, they crossed the threshold.
Kazuki, come back to me.
As the flagship vanished into the rift, the sea grew still. Only the breach's hum remained, a promise and a dirge. Inside the breach, time fractured. Kazuki stood on a ghost deck suspended in a cathedral of violet light and endless depth. Spectral sailors were already dissolving into motes of white, their faces calm. One by one, they turned to him. A young spirit, barely more than a boy, touched his hand. "Thank you, Captain." Then he was light, another and another. The breach filled with ascending voices, a chorus of names Kazuki would never forget.
You gave us a captain. Now we give you peace. Rest, Kazuki. Live.
Hayama, I thank you. All of you. I'll make sure the world knows what you did.
The ghost fleet became a river of light, flowing upward, weaving together. The breach began to constrict. The rift screamed, resisting. Then, with a sound like 1,000 anchors dropping, it began to seal. A force, gentle but absolute, pushed Kazuki back. He reached out, but the ghosts were already beyond his grasp. With a final white flash, the breach closed. Kazuki was hurled into the cold sea, alone. Kazuki surfaced, gasping. The cold shock jolted him back to life, but the world above was unrecognizable. The sky was clear. The storm had passed, leaving an eerie stillness that pressed in from every direction. No ghost ships, no glowing crew. The sea was empty, and the silence ached.
They're gone. All of them.
Kazuki swam toward a broken spar, his limbs heavy, and clutched the sodden wood as if it were the last solid thing in the world. He laid his head on the beam, and the tears came, silent, indistinguishable from the salt water that had taken everything. The diary in his coat was ruined, its pages unreadable. It didn't matter. The promise was kept. His eyes, once alight with pale blue fire, had dimmed to a hollow darkness. The power that had saved the world had left with the fleet.
I did what they asked. So why does victory feel like drowning?
He drifted, alone, as the first true sunlight in an age broke through the clouds and touched the silent sea. A distant silhouette cut the horizon, a small boat, a lone figure searching the empty sea.
Kazuki, hold on. I see you.
The oars sliced the glassy water. As she drew closer, she saw his hollow gaze, his lips moving without sound.
Take my hand. I am not leaving you here.
She pulled him into the boat, wrapping a coarse blanket around his trembling shoulders.
Look, Kazuki, the water, it's receding. You did it. They did it.
Kazuki said nothing, but as she pulled her hand away, his fingers caught hers and held on. For a long while, neither spoke. The only sound was the gentle lap of water against the hull and the cry of a distant gull.
We'll find the others. Rebuild. Just stay with me.
Kazuki closed his eyes, not to escape, but to feel the warmth of the sun and the solid presence beside him. The boat scraped against sand. A crowd of survivors had gathered on the emerging shore, their faces lit with desperate hope.
They know what you did. Word travels on the wind.
Kazuki stepped onto solid ground. The cheers washed over him, but his eyes searched the skyline for something that wasn't there. Without a word, he walked to the highest dune. In his hands, the tattered flag from his ghost ship, still smelling of spectral salt. He drove the broken shaft into the sand. The wind caught the fabric and the crowd fell silent.
This is their grave. Every sailor who drowned. We stand here because they chose to rest. Never forget that.
A child in the crowd pointed to the flag. A mother wept. The names were too numerous to read, but the weight of them pressed on every heart. Mana stepped beside him, and silently she tied a strip of her own scarf to the flagpole. A reminder that the living, too, owed a debt. One by one, the survivors came forward, laying stones at the base until a cairn rose, the first landmark of a new world. Kazuki looked at the sea one last time. The ghosts were gone, but the shore was alive. And maybe, he thought, that was enough. Evenings were quiet on the new shore. Kazuki sat on a tidal rock, staring at the sunset as if the sea still owed him an answer. Mana settled beside him, no words needed. The silence between them had become a shared home.
Do you still hear them? The whispers?
Not anymore. But I feel them. In the calm. They're free.
A flicker of light drew their eyes upward. Against the clouds, a shape, a familiar silhouette, began to drift. High above, a ghost ship sailed, crewless and serene. It was not a haunting, it was a blessing, watching over them.
They're still with us. Not as ghosts, as guardians.
We'll make sure their sacrifice meant something. Every dawn from now.
He took her hand, and the cloud ship dissolved into the first stars, leaving only a promise of permanence. Kazuki turned toward the settlement, the living world calling. The sea whispered, but it was finally gentle. Morning came gently to the new shoreline. Huts were rising, and the sounds of rebuilding echoed across the sand.
I want to build something that lasts. A city where their names are carved in stone, not just whispered.
A city of survivors, built on a promise. We'll make it a place where hope is stronger than salt.
I never expected to survive. Every dawn since the breach feels borrowed.
Then we'll live twice as hard, for them.
They stopped at the edge of the water, where the tide smoothed the sand like a blank page.
This is what they wanted. Not just an end to the flood, but a beginning.
Then we'll give them one. A world where no one drowns alone.
The sun broke fully over the horizon, and the sea turned gold. Kazuki and Mana turned back toward the waking settlement. Their steps slow, but together the settlement grew sturdy. Wooden houses lined the shore, and a stone monument stood at its heart. On clear mornings, Kazuki traced the carved names with his fingertips. He wore a simple coat now, not a captain's. The ghosts no longer needed him to command, only to remember.
Kazuki, this little one wants to hear the story, the real one.
A story, huh? Once before the sun broke through, the sea was full of monsters, but a fleet sailed to stop them, a fleet no living eye could see. Ghost ships, with souls who chose to rest so we could stand here.
The child's eyes widened, and Mana smiled, a hand on the girl's shoulder. When the tale ended, the girl whispered a question. Kazuki answered, his voice gentle as the tide.
They're still here, in every gentle wave, in the dawn that comes without fear. They're in every safe harbor we build.
He looked up, and there a single cloud drifted, unmistakably shaped like a ship's prow. Kazuki smiled, a quiet, real smile. And sometimes, if you watch the sky just right, they sail again. The girl, still holding Mana's hand, gazed up. But are they still out there? Really? Kazuki kneeled, his eyes meeting hers, and nodded slowly.
They're everywhere. In the salt breeze, in the calm after a storm, in every safe harbor we build.
He touched the cold stone of the monument, his fingertips resting on a familiar name.
They chose to rest so we could have mornings like this, so we could remember them with smiles, not tears.
And then it came, the first real smile he'd worn since the flood. Not tight or broken, but wide and easy. Mana pressed a hand to her heart, and a tear, just one, slid down, full of pride.
You finally let them go.
Number, I finally let them be at peace. They're not gone. They're home.
They stood together, the monument behind them, the sea stretching calm and bright under the open sky. Months became years. The port town thrived, children racing barefoot along the wharves, their laughter bright as the sun. Ships, real wooden ships, crisscrossed the bay, fishing nets heavy with silver. At the memorial, fresh blossoms lay against the stone each morning. The names of the ghost sailors still clear beneath the petals. On the cliff that overlooked it all, two figures sat, older now, their shoulders touching. Kazuki's hair had threads of gray, and Mana's hands bore the lines of work. But their eyes were young. They watched the sun sink toward the shimmering sea in comfortable silence. And there, in the water's reflection, a ghost ship sailed, no longer a warship, just a memory, a blessing. It held for a breath, then dissolved into the golden light. And so the fleet that could not be seen became the hope that could not be drowned. The sea whispered on.